Australia is facing a climate crisis that could displace millions by mid-century if global warming isn't curbed. And the numbers are more alarming than many realize. A groundbreaking national risk assessment, the first of its kind from the Australian government, reveals that 1.5 million citizens could be at risk from rising sea levels by 2050. But here's where it gets controversial. The severity of the threat hinges entirely on how much the planet warms. Under a best-case 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit warming scenario, sea levels might climb by 14 centimeters. However, if emissions continue unchecked and temperatures hit 3 degrees Celsius, the surge could reach 54 centimeters, enough to submerge coastal communities and displace entire towns. Queensland, already a hotspot for climate vulnerability, is home to 18 of the 20 regions most exposed to this threat. And this is the part most people miss. Even under the most optimistic projections, 597,000 Australians are already living in areas destined to face sea level rise by 2030. The report, released just days before the government announces its 2035 emissions target and a pivotal UN climate summit, serves as a stark wake-up call. Climate Change Minister Chris Bowen described it as an honest warning, urging Australians to confront the challenges head-on. Let's be realistic about the threats, but let's also believe in the power of action, he said. The document models 3 warming scenarios: 1.5 degrees C, 2 degrees C, and 3 degrees C. Current global commitments, however, are steering the world toward a 2.9 degrees C increase by 2100. A trajectory that leaves little room for optimism. Even if emissions dropped overnight, we'd still face climate impacts, Bowen admitted. But the journey is ongoing, and we're committed to moving forward. The assessment paints a grim picture of localized consequences. In Sydney, heatwave deaths could skyrocket by 400% under a 3 degrees Celsius scenario, while Melbourne might see a 259% rise. Nationwide, disaster recovery costs could balloon to over $40 billion annually by 2050, with property values plummeting by $611 billion. Ecosystems are equally at risk. 40 to 70% of species could face extinction or forced migration, and iconic landscapes like alpine regions and ancient rainforests might vanish entirely. The Southern Ocean's marine life, already struggling with algal blooms in South Australia, has no room to move, according to the report, a dire warning for biodiversity. Yet, amid the bleak forecasts, the government has unveiled an adaptation plan aimed at mitigating the worst impacts. It prioritizes protecting vulnerable communities, strengthening infrastructure, and integrating climate resilience into construction codes. Measures include sustainable insurance reforms and tailored support for those with disabilities or chronic illnesses. By 2026, an action agenda will identify high-priority adaptation zones in collaboration with states. But questions linger. Is the 2035 emissions target ambitious enough? Can Australia truly balance economic growth with climate action? The Climate Council called the report a horror story, arguing that doing too little is an active choice. As the debate unfolds, one truth remains clear. The future of millions hinges on decisions made today. What's your take? Do you believe the government's plan is a step in the right direction, or does it fall short of what's needed? Share your thoughts in the comments.